Hey guys, Jinno here, coming to you from rainy Portimao, Portugal, and I got a question for you. Are you looking for a tour that won't break the bank? Well, perhaps this bike right here is for you. Let's find out more about the 2025 CFMOTO 700MT in this episode of Beyond the Ride. All right, so I want to talk about the aesthetics first. I mean, I think it's pretty good. I think it's a pretty good looking bike. It's not the sexiest thing in the world, but I think it's definitely something that's not bad looking. You do get LEDs all around. It is a little bit modern looking. Actually, these crash bars come with the bike stock already, so that's definitely bonus points for CFMOTO. You also get the hand guards, and you get these the foot pegs, which you could take the rubber off as well. And these are actually more for off-roady type of riding because it's got the teeth around it, so the boots will be able to not slip if you take the rubber off. But I think it's definitely a good-looking bike. Again, not the sexiest thing in the world, but hey, to each his own. I mean, we all know that the look of the bike is definitely subjective. So for the wheels and tires, you get 19s in the front, 17s for the rear, and CST tubeless tires as well. They work very well. We were in some very wet conditions in the second half of our ride with some mud as well and gravel on the ground, and the tires worked well. Not once did I feel awkward with the bike, not once did I feel like I needed to slow down a lot and just to be able to control the bike better. The bike handled the conditions very well. I also like that it comes with spoke wheels. It adds to the definite good looks of the bike. It's fitting. It definitely is fitting for this machine. Another thing, small detail that I want to point out is that you have the when you want to inflate the tire, it points out, so you don't have to maneuver your way to put air on the in the tire. So those small attention to detail stuff that they did with this bike is definitely well appreciated. The bike is powered by 693cc liquid-cooled 2-cylinder 4-stroke dual overhead cam engine that punches out 67 horsepower at 9,500 RPM and 60 Newton meters of torque at 6,000 RPM. Keeping bumps at bay, you get a 43mm fully adjustable fork up front. The brand is Yuan, something that I'm not too familiar with. And for the rear, you get a monoshock with preload and damping adjustability. So the ground clearance is only 190mm. So right there, you know it's not exactly the best for off-road, but it can handle some pretty light trails. We took it on some, well, very light trails here in Portimao, and it handled it absolutely perfectly. And you do get a TFT screen as well on the bike. And the TFT screen is something that CFMOTO is very proud of because, well, it has phone connectivity. It's almost kind of like Apple CarPlay that they have here. And I know a lot of people like to put aftermarket stuff on their bikes, like a Chiggy. But this right here, I think it's absolutely perfect already. Of course, the windscreen is adjustable. You just gotta turn these knobs right here. Now, something that I did notice is that the handlebars are kind of tilted backwards. It's almost very cruiser-like. I'm not quite used to it. I'm a little bit used to a little bit more upright handlebar, but it's still managed very well. The buttons, the switches, these are, well, very CFMOTO. You see them in the 450MT, on the SR, and some of the other bikes that they have. So I'm quite familiar with it already. One thing that I do love about this bike, especially here in Portimao when it was raining, it's got heated grips. Now, I know in the Philippines, we probably won't be using heated grips that much, but when it rains and you're in the mountains, it definitely comes in handy. You also get heated seats with this motorcycle right here, which is very well appreciated. Of course, you get traction control, Type A, Type C, charging ports, slipper clutch as well. The ABS, you can turn it on and off in case you do want to go on light trails. You can definitely turn off the ABS. Now, something that I did notice as well, that there's no riding modes with this bike, and I think that's fine. I mean, it for the purposes of this bike, which is really more for touring, I think it worked very, very well. You don't really need sport mode or rain mode or any other type of modes. I think the bike is, rides well the way it is. So you get a curb weight of 200 kilograms, which is actually pretty manageable for a bike this size, and the fuel tank capacity is 20 liters. So the seat height is 800 millimeters. Of course, it is adjustable. You can definitely get a lower seat or a higher seat, but the standard one is 800 millimeters. I'm 5'6", with a 764 millimeter inseam. And this is what it looks like on me. Yes, it's a little bit tippy-toed, but it's not an issue. Anybody out there who's about my height would be able to handle this bike, no problem. Even probably somebody a little bit shorter, maybe up to maybe about 5'2" for the lady riders out there. I think this is definitely manageable. And the units that we had a top box and of course the saddlebags as well. And it came in very handy because we could put all our stuff there, our rain gear and so on and so forth. So we did take the bike out around the place, about almost 200 kilometers. The first part of the ride was nice, dry and sunny. Just a little bit cold, but it still was not so bad. The second half part of the ride, it was really, really wet. And despite the heavy rains and the weather conditions, I still found this bike very, it felt very stable. Not once did I feel like I was going to lose control of the bike, because it's very predictable. It's not something that will knock your socks off and you need to baby the bike a little bit. It managed the situation that we were put in, which was very wet and some mud that we had to get through, and it managed all of that perfectly. So I was really impressed with it. I mean, if it can manage that, it can manage anything that the Philippines can throw at you.
We spent the entire day riding around the Portimao area, and despite many hours in the saddle, I didn't feel any discomfort. The seat is nice and plush. The ergonomics is pretty much what you would expect from a tour, nice and relaxed. The only thing that would be a little strange would be the handlebar position, but you get used to it pretty fast. I do know some of my taller companions had a few issues, but for somebody my size, near 5'6", 145 pounds, this is very comfortable. Now, I completely understand that I'm riding in a beautiful place, and that might sway me into thinking this bike is super awesome. Honestly, I'm aware that's kind of the goal of these launches in these destinations. So I do need to keep that in mind while trying to understand this bike more. Having said that, I think this is a decent tourer, especially at its price point. Don't get me wrong, it's not something for performance on-road or off-road, but if you're in the market for a chill, no-frills, easy-to-ride touring motorcycle, this is not a bad choice. Especially because you get a whole lot more for less. As far as the competition of this bike is concerned, now I don't consider the Tenere 700 and the Aprilia Touareg as its competition. Those are really more off-road capable. This would really compete more with some other middleweight tourers with some off-road capability in the market, such as middleweights like the Honda Transalp, the Suzuki V-Strom, and the very popular Kawasaki Versys. Of course, the middleweight versions of those. So, this bike is kind of like the chill middle child. Not as wild as the 800 MTX and not as fun as the 450 MT. Yes, it's not the most exciting of the bunch, but it does get the job done.
So in conclusion, as I mentioned at the top of this episode, if you're looking for a tourer that won't break the bank, this might be the bike for you. Well, the starting price tag of the CFMOTO 700MT is 388,900 Philippine pesos. For that, I don't know if you can find a tourer of this quality at a better price. I really don't. I mean, that price right there is really, really good. Now, for more information about this bike and other MCs out there, log on to www.motodeal.com.ph. I'm Jinno. Thanks for watching this episode of The On The Ride.